Yo everybody, welcome back to the, well, not really Centaur Fragrance channel anymore. I'm changing it to the channel called Daddy, where we talk about news, real issues, and also help men understand the world. But today, it's going to be a little bit of a fragrance video. We are going to be switching over, in the next couple videos, but I have this one focused more on not really what an individual needs to know, like somebody watching fragrance content, but really more on the community as a whole. So this applies to reviewers and people watching fragrance videos. The next video is going to be more about, people who watch fragrance videos and want to learn about fragrances. But here, let's wrap up my thoughts. I'm not going to make too many of these videos again. I want to help Frag Com. I could have made this video in a very negative light. Again, my videos are positive. My attitude has been positive, and I have not been directing hate at anybody. I certainly have not. And I've certainly been trying to help anybody, or everybody. And this was what this video is going to be about. So I want Frag Com to succeed. Again, some people are going to say, there is no fragrance community. There's never been. A community of people is really just any group of people, maybe more than two, maybe two or three people. It can even be considered a community of people who communicate. Some communities are very involved or very interconnected or very support one another. There can be all kinds of different communities. But there is a fragrance community, and I do want it, or wish it the very best, and I do want it to succeed. So that's what I really, this video, what it was made for, why it was made. But let's talk about how we can maybe make a miracle happen and change Frag Com around for the best. So let's see here. I've seen a lot of people openly say that they're not going to give, I could talk about the negatives. I don't want to, but please do have your eyes open. I've seen one of the biggest fragrance reviewers who does, or they're not even a reviewer anymore, but somebody who makes fragrance content, and they openly said that they won't give a positive review to anyone unless they're getting paid. And that's pretty crazy. And maybe the biggest fragrance reviewer of them all said that he, got brand deals. Don't know if he's got any more since that, of 9 brands. And again, nothing's wrong with collaborating. In my opinion, nothing's wrong with being making money, but you have to be very open and honest and transparent. And there's ways to do that with YouTube, which gives people the opportunity, or gives them, some awareness that something is branded, especially if you're being paid more than just product placement, being paid. Bulgari Aqua Amara was certainly one of those, and that's one reason I talked about that so much. But let's talk about that, get into the actual video. Let's get into the video and why you're actually here. So my first point is viewers need to watch actual fragrance reviewers. If you want a fragrance community of people who are passionate, you need to watch people who authentically review a product. More than people who are just trying to be a salesperson or just trying to figure out how to work the algorithm. You have to watch and encourage people. And I've recently, I forget what they're called. It's like a post. It's not a video exactly. I have highlighted or shared some of the videos of some people in the Frag Com, some of the few who are still reviewing fragrances. And I encourage you to try to find those people. They might be smaller. They might not be perfect. They might have some room to improve. But their content, certainly in my opinion, is more worthwhile and certainly more valuable. Again, it's not necessarily that you spent an entire year wearing a fragrance, or that it's somebody's signature scent, where that's the only fragrance they wear and that they love or something. It's that they authentically put in the time and actually care, instead of their goal is money, or collaborating with a certain brand, or whatever it might be, But you need to go out of your way and sometimes it takes a little bit of effort, especially in the world of YouTube. They have completely changed the algorithm, where it's very difficult to go deeper into YouTube and find the smaller channels. And especially if you're trying to find, content that's considered more I don't know, dangerous or unusual or unwanted by some people, it's very difficult to find information and maybe good information about a lot of things. So you might have to skip or wiggle your way to finding individual fragrance reviews, especially in the next coming years. It's already bad enough with the top 10. Sometimes you have to filter through 20 top 10 videos just to find one actual review of something, even if you intentionally was searching for or searched in that search box what you were looking for. So anyways, there's I think a fragrance reviewer or a real fragrance review introduces a fragrance, gives you they have a basic understanding of it and they introduce it, and it's more than just a couple words. It doesn't have to be super in depth. You don't have to go through every single season or every single occasion, but certainly I don't know. I'm hungry for details, and top tens don't do it for me. And I think a lot of people, and there's certainly something that needs to be done better and different. So I think we've beaten that dead horse. We've talked about that quite a few times. So let's jump to, I guess, the second little part of point one is if some fragrance content creator, where they're not really a reviewer, if they've sacrificed their style or their personality, changing to top tens or how they present themselves, and maybe you can tell they're not having a lot of fun with it. You can tell there's not that passion or that love for fragrance. What else are they willing to sacrifice? Are they willing to sell you out for a brand deal and lie about it, or just not tell you? Or what else are they willing to do? So let's talk. That gets us into our next topic. I could have started out with this topic that would have been shocking, that might have gotten maybe people more interested in this topic, but it's kind of like criminals in Frag Com. This is certainly maybe the biggest issue of all. I've talked and hinted about it. I'm not naming names. I don't have much to take from me, but I certainly maybe could get myself sued. But there are people who do have brand deals in Frag Com, and they are not, actually using YouTube's terms of service. And there's American law, which is a bit different than other law. Maybe it could change depending on where you live, but there is a YouTube law, and they're at least breaking one. So there's people who are getting brand deals that you're supposed to. There's a checkbox when you upload a video. There's a little pop-up that comes up at the bottom left that it kind of at the beginning of a video and lets people know very, very openly that this is sponsored, and they're supposed to also tell you that it's sponsored. That especially if you're being paid, and if you've just gotten free product, you're supposed to do that as well. And people are also doing this on Instagram. Won't get too much into the Instagram scene, but people are doing that on Instagram as well. And but that's a whole mess in how it's been used. So again, as fragrance reviewing or anything gets bigger, this hobby is very small, and it's growing, and it's getting bigger. There are going to be professional fragrance content makers, people who start to make full-time livings off of this. It is possible. The fragrance I guess, I don't know, industry is not the right word, but this sector of business is still very growing and upcoming, and there is opportunity, but again, I think you need to encourage or support the best of the best people, and certainly not continue supporting these people who are simply not only breaking the YouTube's policies and laws, but also probably their own governmental laws. And are they disclosing, those as, what are they doing with their taxes? I mean, I can't even imagine if they report what they are or not reporting with their taxes, in that money and where it's coming from and all that. But there's a bigger problem with this criminals and Frag Com. It's one thing to get money and a fragrance, and it's kind of be deceptive and not tell people. It's another thing to get a free fragrance and or money. But it's a whole nother thing when you're buying fake viewers and subs, and also you might, especially with like Facebook analytics and Instagram, you can create a campaign. They call it a campaign where you target a post and you promote that post. So imagine that you are getting money from a corporation to be a salesperson essentially with a free product, and you are also then not disclosing that you're paid or got a free product, and you're paying for free, not free, you're paying for fake advertising, the views, the clicks. These bots, or even some of them are real people, but they're paid to give a like or a quick little comment in these bots and things. And some of this is going on in Frag Com. I don't know how often it happens on everything, but there are people who have done this and seem to do this. And this is a whole, people talk about that we need to support the biggest fragrance reviewers and the most popular and the most upcoming, and act like Frag Com is reliant on them. Yes, they are making Frag Com bigger, and there is a trickle-down effect where it does give some, I guess, support or some viewership to the, smaller reviewers. But with YouTube's, again, policies and algorithm for authority, they're not helping the smaller people as much as you would think. And when they're, buying up this, buying the momentum and the viewership, they are only hurting Frag Com because they're fake and they're not helping people maybe get the best product or maybe get the best fragrance or the best value. And it's just a world of fakeness. And maybe that's worse than the criminal actions themselves, is that it kind of takes away from the passion, not only of people who authentically want to review fragrances or do anything with any hobby, authentically want to love that and be passionate about it. It takes away from that, but it also doesn't help people. And, I think people can see through that eventually over time. And if people feel like they were betrayed, or maybe they were authentically betrayed, that hurts the fragrance community as well. Again, like with a certain Ferrari scandal, with Patreon and all kinds of other things. Imagine how many tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people just quit getting involved with fragrance because of something like that. It's just crazy. Now, I will include a link down below if you would like to look into this for the FTCS endorsement guidelines for social media network and sites. You can do your own research if you'd like to on that. It's not very well defined as far as a lot of law stuff goes. It's kind of, dependent on how well a lawyer wants to debate, how much money they have, and I guess how good of a lawyer. But there are laws in place. Some of these fragrance reviewers are probably going to get away with it if they got a free fragrance and just don't disclose it. They might get away with it if they've paid, been paid and got a free fragrance. Probably are going to keep getting away with it. But you might be in serious trouble if you are if one of these social media sites ever decide to have a real reckoning, like Instagram or Facebook, where you were buying fake subs and you were buying fake, views and engagement and building that momentum, and you were being paid under the table with free product. That might not end very well for you. So I just want to put it that way. I want to help Frag Com. I want to make sure that doesn't happen. So some of y'all need to, come clean. That's for sure. Next, fragrance reviewers need to improve. Now, I'm not trying to act like I'm the biggest fragrance reviewer or I was ever perfect as a fragrance reviewer. I never had the best setup. My quality could have been far better if I could have had a better setup with my lighting. I kept trying to mess with the lighting, but I did get my quality up to 4K. But, I'm not perfect. Maybe I'm not the most relatable person. I know I share a lot of details. We all have our own styles. But everybody needs to figure out how they can improve and, how to, I guess, have fun and go on with their fragrance journey. And if you do actually want to become big on a platform, do figure out what people like. And you can argue that top 10s are what people want. But YouTube has a big bias towards top 10s. I think everybody knows that who knows anything about YouTube. And what we got to do is figure out how to break past that, maybe move to another platform. I might mention that again, but you got to talk about your experiences. You got to authentically talk from the heart. If be passionate, and that used to matter a lot. But I think as things become more corporate and sales, and I don't know, there's got to be a way where we can start openly speak and work together. This is, I'm talking about fragrance here, but there's a lot of things recently that have happened with like Disney and a lot of other things. We can work together, and I'm not saying downvote or get into a mob, but you need to let your voice be spoken openly. And I know there's a lot of people who are very unhappy about certain things, like I have been in the past. And you might be called hate. You might get people trying to troll you or attack you or whatever it is, like I have, for stating truth and opening discussions with things that are authentic and real and need to be discussed. But you need to let your voice be heard if you actually want, if you care about YouTube or people or Frag Com at all. So I feel like there's a lot of people who have decided just to step back in the fragrance community. And some of these people have thousands of fragrances, or 1,000, and they never start fragrance channels. I think that you should have made a fragrance channel. I think you should have done that like 5 years ago. But you still have a voice, and I still think that you could do a lot of good, with people joining together. And that's partly what I am doing. As a fragrance, as somebody who's stepping out of the Frag Com, I am bringing awareness and helping people actually figure out the truth or see the truth. And if you're not reporting on people's bad actions, or that a certain company actually hates their customers or doesn't care about their customers, that's a problem. And I might have to do some more of that kind of stuff in the future, because some of these companies also need to be individually talked about because of some of the problems. Anyways, this is a positive video. There's a lot that friendship and deals and collaborations that can happen, and that would actually be good. There need to be more collaborations and more engagement and involvement with brands to reviewers. And that's really going to be one of the only ways that moving forward, that there's going to be more people who are able to review these products or our fragrances and things. There's no way, especially if you're not, even middle class people, there's no way to keep up, especially if you're going for the world of niche, with every fragrance costing anywhere from $150 odd to, $500 or more. There's no way that you can keep up with all these new fragrances. And there does need to be more brands. And it's very strange to me that is not more collaborations within this industry, even for the people who I don't think are the most honest, or they certainly aren't the most honest. It's almost strange that that there isn't more collaborations between these individuals and the companies themselves. There certainly can be more, or maybe should be more. It's very strange. If you go to the computer industry or headphones, electronics, if you go to video games, if you go to makeup, you go to cars, or almost anything out there in the world, there's advertising. And I'm not saying that everybody needs to become a salesman, that certainly is a problem, but there is a way to authentically do this, but it's not being done. So, at least by most. So, anyways, let's jump to the next topic. Knowledge in fragrance reviewing. Now, I don't want to, again, I'm not trying to act like I'm the most knowledgeable. That's not what this is about. Every video should have have details. My biggest point about this, again, everybody's going to want a different level of detail. I've been pretty thorough, maybe not the most thorough, but pretty thorough. I've tried to have a good balance. Some videos of mine have been maybe way too much detail and been boring to some people. Some people have let me know that. But with this knowledge, you need to figure out how much you like, how in depth you like to be, what your audience likes. but also I personally think, this is an opinion, I guess, but you need to at least be able to share one or a couple of things that you cannot easily find on a fragrance producer's website, or even Fragrantica. You need to have a little bit of insight, something that you found that was fun or interesting, something that it changed on your skin, it brought you a memory, something more than just the compliments. And I guess I'll talk about that compliments thing. If you are a fragrance reviewer and you were, and instead of talking about with the knowledge of the details of the fragrance, you straight go in and to talking about compliments, you're really not helping people, at least in my opinion. That gets into supporting others. If you supporting the people who watch your content, or you watching their content, helping you build confidence is important. And but I think you're going to help people build actual confidence by actually helping people find fragrances that suit their personalities, or their career, or whatever situations that their lifestyle. I don't think that just getting compliments or seeking out that compliments is really going to boost anybody's mindset. It's good if it builds you up your confidence a little bit to know that you're smelling good. I think that all of us have a little bit of that to us, that we know that we're smelling good or attractive, moving forward. But if you, I think a lot of people going out there think that they need the fragrance, that it's something that's really gonna. It's one thing if you think it's enhancing you, that it gives you the edge, that it does a little bit something that helps you out, and it's an expression of yourself. That's a wonderful thing. But it's another thing if you're wearing that fragrance and worrying about or expecting that compliment. If you don't get that compliment, then you've had a bad day. You bought a fragrance that cost you $80, $90, $100, maybe more, and you didn't get a compliment, and then somehow you feel bad about yourself. I guess you could say that's the responsibility of the viewer. It's not the responsibility of the fragrance reviewer. But a lot of people are hyping up the compliment thing, and they know that talking about compliments gets views. And I've made a video talking about compliments before, and I'm just tired of it. And and this is more than just my opinion. If you want to help people, I have no idea where this compliment culture came from. Why would you really seek compliment? I mean, it's one thing to get attention, but I don't see people who are, you're buying a product for other people. Even with cars or something that's very visual, and again, fragrance is something you smell, but something like cars, you buy it for your, let's go back to cars. You buy it because of its performance. Yeah, you want to look good, and yeah, people might be jealous, or you might improve your, how people see you. It certainly, can boost up, how people might think of you, your social status. It could do that, but what is most important is the functions of the car. How it makes you feel. Does it perform the way you like it to? Does it feel? Does it turn? Does it accelerate? Does it have the gas mileage you like? Does it have the things that you like? Do you need a truck because you haul things? Do you need a small car that's fuel efficient, that gets you throughout the city and can turn really quickly? I don't know what I'm talking about. So I don't, when buying a fragrance, there's, again, millions of dollars. I've talked about this before, of dollars of advertising that, the guy gets the girl, or the girl gets the guy, vice versa. So there certainly is that attraction focus, but I don't even see the compliment, the aspect included in even fragrance or perfume or whatever commercials. So I don't know why that has become such a big thing with the compliments. If you feel like you need a fragrance, or you depend on a fragrance to get a compliment, or certain clothes or whatever, you might need some introspection. You might need to improve self-improve yourself. And I believe in you, and I know you can feel confident, even in average clothes without a fragrance. And you should be confident in your your skill or your personal sense of being. Even if you don't believe in honor or whatever, your confidence should come from within, not from external validation. Somebody giving you a compliment. So I don't want you to become. I don't want anybody to become dependent or uh, dependent or expecting a compliment. It's I don't know. It's nice to get a compliment, but it hasn't changed my life. It's not like the best memory I've ever had. Getting a compliment on a fragrance, it's not the most important thing that's ever happened, and I don't continue to buy fragrances or look for a fragrance or intentionally buy a fragrance with compliments in mind, and I don't think you or anybody else should either. So with supporting other people, as far as in Frag Com, again, let's, for fragrance reviewer to reviewer or content creator, I don't think we all have to collaborate with each other. If you are authentically friends and authentically do care about each other, that can be fine. But I think encouraging, just getting into the compliments, just giving a kind word. Sure, you can like their video or whatever. And I think just giving a kind word is the most important thing. But again, a lot of people who support each other do it more as a business move. You see the biggest fragrance reviewers support the people who are really growing and who have the momentum, who are coming up. They say the up and up. And then you support them or give them a kind word, or if they seek to help them and use them to your advantage, it's help each kind of benefit from each other, and I don't think these people authentically like each other in Frag Com, and that's the kind of stuff that hurts Frag Com in the passion. It's just you can tell these people really don't care about each other with their collaborations or when they just support each other and they protect each other. It's quite astounding to me, especially when they're not really both authentically they don't authentically care about fragrances that much. It's all business, and that's quite disgusting. But let's see here. Let's with trading with one another. I think that this is something that, I don't know, I'm going to skip through this one pretty quickly, but I think fragrances are so expensive that we need to figure out a way to trade decants with one another. Have an accountability system where maybe you have a group of friends where certain decants are rotated so you all can review a certain fragrance or certain things and all save money. Because if there's going forward, if there are more people who want to get into fragrance reviewing, when a brand new fragrance comes out, it would save a lot of money and be more effective if you all would, be able to share, or, trading might be the safer way to do it, but maybe, trade around certain decants if you really trust each other and hold each other accountable. I think that's possible. And samples certainly could be done. Again, some people really don't like reviewing off samples, but there's no real way to keep up with the hundreds or thousands of fragrances that come out almost every year. And if you were to buy all the fragrances that come out every year, I mean, you might be spending like $10,000 just every year on all the fragrances that come out. I don't know. It's probably $5,000 to $10,000, so, or more, if you were actually reviewing a lot of fragrances. So, and not getting these brand deals and these things that a lot of these people are doing. So, another number 8 is exposed brands. Kind of mentioned that a little bit earlier, but whether they are intentionally or unintentionally supporting breaking the law, I think that you or individuals need to I'm not saying necessarily report them to YouTube or anything like that, but you need to be willing to argue with them or ask the hard questions. And if they're not willing to answer the hard questions or think it's strange or crazy, and especially if people are being protected about things that are very openly well known, like putting your tongue through a V, and one of them that one was fairly recently that shocked me, and talking about Twister sisters and stuff like that. And again, people are free to have whatever kind of lifestyle they want, but to openly lie about something like that, to me was just very strange. But anyways, let's see here. Let's skip that or not talk too much about that. There is a responsibility on the viewership as well. This is not all about the content creator. The viewers themselves are really the biggest driving force with the exposing brands point that I'm making. If the viewership isn't holding people accountable, disliking doesn't have much power on YouTube anymore, but you can still tell YouTube or have some kind of expression by disliking, but get in the comment sections if you have to. Tell them that you disliked their video and why you disliked it. Some of these people are going to remove your comments, but oh well. Next, remove things that do not belong in the hobby. This is a very controversial point, but I have to talk about it. I simply have to. I'm going to open up a big box of worms here. But there's a lot of things in Frag Com that simply don't belong in Frag Com. This is a hobby, this is a passion, and that should be the focus. I see way too much politics and religion, and I've even seen like cancel culture, racism stuff pop and creep into Frag Com. With the politics, I don't know why you would try to mix in. If you care more about politics, make a separate politics channel and talk away to your heart. Why are you trying to get people involved in Frag Com and create this big division and this fight? And I've seen some of that. And there's lots of people who they're more active with posting, changing their certain like their Instagram profile picture or whatever it is. They're much more active politic wise than they are fragrance wise, and I don't know. It's one thing if you have your personal Instagram or like you use your YouTube as a personal blog or something, but they made specific fragrance, a fragrance Instagram. It's not their or whatever it might be, their account. It's not their personal. It's for fragrance, and then they mix things like that in there. And I'm talking about the whole gambit. Religion shouldn't be here in fragrance talk. Again, it's nice that you have a fellowship. It's beautiful if you find somebody who's like-minded, politics, religion, whatever, and you want to be their friend. That's beautiful. But I don't want to focus on one religion in particular, but I do have to say that I do see Christianity being pushed in some small corners of Frag Com. It's fine that you have friendship with one another, but if you like expect somebody to call you brother or sister or whatever, I've had people kind of shun me or kind of kind of vet me to figure out if I was of their religion or not. And then these same people who are this way do take shots at other people and act like they don't get into the drama, but then they do. It's very strange that, and especially when some of these people have come at me once or twice or used Bible verses against me. I'm not going to get into my past and all that, but I could do a preach or I could give a sermon better than and I could preach better than their preacher, give a sermon better than anybody that they've ever seen. And I've had people tell me that in my past, that I did give them, the best lesson that they've ever heard in their entire life. So, if you're trying to use Bible verses against me when you're not even using them correctly, I could certainly sit you down and explain that Bible verse and how you're using it incorrectly and explain it to you. But when those people do that kind of stuff, sometimes they're kind of beyond help. And I don't know how to help them. Let me know if you have any thoughts on how you could help them. Now, with racism, we're not going to talk about this and other types of issues like that. But fragrance, again, if you focus on something that's beautiful, it should be something that unifies us, like food. Yes, there's culture involved with food and history, and there's as well as fragrance and many other things. But you can focus on the beauty of those things and how we all can appreciate something. We all don't have to sit down and just eat or enjoy a certain food that's regional or historical. We all get to experience different ingredients and recipes and things from each other and trade and involve and mingle. That is the beautiful thing. If you are pushing for people having to sit down and only certain people can wear, and that's it's not even elitism. It's something worse, and I'm not even going to get into it. But I was told maybe the most racist thing, and what it wasn't that I just heard it. It was towards me. I've been told one of the maybe the most offensive thing I've ever heard in my life from somebody in Frag Com, and I wasn't even arguing with them. They just for some reason thought that they had the power, or it was their responsibility to tell me how to live my life, and something very very wrong. And I've never said who they were with their name, but they know who they are, and I hope that that is not seeping under the cracks in Fragcom, because I mean, if you can't get with a hobby or something as beautiful as fragrance, if you can't find, what brings us together. I don't know. Maybe you never had the intention to come together or care about other people. It's very strange. Anyways, don't let anything devalue you or distract you if you are focused on a passion or a hobby. Don't do that. And we gotta, you gotta call people out if they do it, or if they do that. And maybe I should talk about who did this, but I've just let it be. And anyways, let's see. We you got to expose. We've talked about people who are manipulating or buying subs or views. I got to call people out. If it seems fake, it seems fake. We gotta talk about that more. Or the community needs to be more aware, at least at the minimum. Let's talk about the next point, though. Let's talk about that. Remove things we talked about, that not involving into the community, but again, I just with that number 9 point, I want to say that I love you. I mean, we can all be involved with each other. I care about you, and that's with fragrance. Well, I mean, what? Again, there's so much to come together with. Our memories, sharing our experiences, sharing what the smells and what we like, and even if somebody doesn't like the same smell as you, or the same compositions, the same styles, and the same perfumers, or if it's a light or heavy fragrance, if it's sweet or sour, or whatever. It's beautiful that you find somebody who even likes fragrances. So my last point here, let's wrap it up. We don't need to spend too much time. Is have dreams. Fragrances are beautiful, but I feel in this hobby that not only have some things that are not so good wiggled in, but some of us have somehow let fragrances maybe take over. I see lots of people and their life is kind of devoted to fragrance. I've talked to people, and I'm very happy that fragrance would be able to help you save your life in a very tough time where people are going through very tough things, and fragrance helped them be a form of escapism or distraction, or something that they could push their energy or their passion towards, and it saved their life. That's a beautiful thing. But I do feel like some people maybe focus too much on fragrance. Fragrance is just one aspect of life. It's certainly a very passionate hobby. It can be, and maybe can be important to a lot of people. But maybe you don't have a big budget. Maybe you don't make a lot of money. Maybe it's not wise to get more like 100 fragrances or more, and put in 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 into a fragrance collection, when you could actually, repair your car, maybe go on a vacation somewhere that you've never had, make a business move, invest. There's a lot of things you could do with your money. So again, fragrance is beautiful, but I see some people who are really big into this hobby, and they kind of encourage each other to have like a minimum of 100 fragrances, or maybe you're not even a real fragrance person unless you have like 1,000. I've seen some people kind of suggest that attitude. You can be passionate and enjoy a hobby and enjoy something, and again, take it at your own pace. Buy what you want to buy. I encourage you to be extremely picky. Even when you're first starting, be picky. Buy the things that you love and that make you that are awesome. So I encourage you to smell as much as you can instead of buy as much as you can. There's maybe too much blind buying that goes on in Frag Com, and maybe some of us, especially when you're first starting out, you need to go to a local mall. Go to that local mall and just smell everything. Maybe bring some coffee beans with you. Smell everything that you can and get some experience. Figure out what you like, what you don't like, and pick the best of the best. There's no reason to spend your money on things that are just good or kind of good, or somebody said it was good, or somebody said it would get me compliments, or maybe it did get you a compliment, but you don't really love it. Or maybe you convince yourself you liked it because somebody gave you a compliment. Like a fragrance because you like it. And I think that you'd be much happier with that. So I think that the Frag Com going forward has a lot of potential to change. You know, there's been lots of times where the biggest people in a certain community have been overtaken. And I'm not trying to say Jeremy doesn't deserve any credit. And maybe there'll be one day where Jeremy isn't the number one fragrance reviewer. Maybe he won't be. You know, maybe in the future there'll be somebody who does something amazing, makes a fragrance brand. I'm going to be trying to work on one of those. But maybe in the future, who knows what's going to happen. I think we need to focus as this hobby on or this, again, you can call it industry or whatever you want to call it. This, I like to call it a passion because that's what we're focusing on. We should focus on. I think that we need to look and be more aware, I guess, as humanity beyond attraction. And again, we're not going to talk about that simps thing much anymore. I've brought it up. I think we have addressed it. But I see it on Instagram. If you want to see the world of simps, go to Instagram, and there's people or women who are fragrance content creators. They're not really reviewers. And one of the biggest upcoming ones, tried, with my video last time, put a post up there with just her face and did this, kind of shared some kind of like little poem, kind of trying to show that they're so great and trying to, I guess, act like they are Frag Com or that they bring people together. No, you don't. And all you did was show your face, and you're trying to use your personal beauty, to get people to sucker them in. It's don't sacrifice on your principles. No matter what YouTube keeps trying to force certain videos at you. I can't tell you how many times I've told YouTube that I'm not interested in certain fragrance reviewers. And I wish that even when I search topics, I wish that you could tell YouTube that even it's more than just your explore page or your recommended page. That's where you can tell that YouTube that you're not interested. When you directly search for something, I think that when you do that, you also should be able to affect YouTube and tell YouTube rank something and tell them if you think it's good or not, or just not to recommend it to you at all. I think that's a major problem with YouTube. So have your dreams. Support who you love. Support who you think is worthwhile. Spend your time where you think is important. Maybe you need to sit down and reevaluate your time, because some of y'all, again, have gotten to this fragrance hobby and have spent way too much money, gotten yourself in debt, could have spent your money on different priorities or different things. I know that I've gotten myself into some of those problems, and maybe figure out if fragrance is your biggest hobby. Like, I love fragrance and I still care about fragrance. And I'm going to wrap this video up here. And but I have lots of other hobbies. I love knives. I love outdoors. I love many things. Maybe just as much as fragrance. I truly love fragrance, but I love a number of other things as well. And you don't have to dedicate your entire life towards one thing. It should be another hobby or another experience that gives you a little variation, something different, a spice of life. Switch it up, have a little bit of variety. So I'm happy that you're here, happy that you got into fragrance. But again, I encourage you to be willing to explore fragrances on your own. Be willing to search up the topics, search up certain notes that you like on Fragrantica. Go to Lucky Scent or a website and look through fragrances, explore on your own and find those fragrances that seem really interesting for you, and maybe go to that boutique or order a sample, and not just buy what a top 10 fragrance reviewer tells you is good. Top 10 fragrance reviewers, unless they're getting massive big brand deals, which some of them are, they're going to be very limited to what they're going to be able to share you because it's just too expensive to buy everything. Or, they're salespeople and they're going to keep maybe promoting certain fragrances within those top 10s. And some of that is happening. So I'd encourage you, again, the biggest, if we're going to, it's grassroots. Y'all know how things work. If we're going to improve Frag Com or improve the world, it's got to come from the grassroots. And the people have the power. The people do. They always have. But sometimes people don't recognize that, and they don't take the action or do the things that they're supposed to. And sometimes it's not easy. It's not easy to fight back. And sometimes sometimes the people create the monsters themselves. And with YouTube, I think that's the case. And with some of these big fragrance reviewers, I think it's the case too. That we've created some of these people, and some of y'all are accountable out there. You're accountable for this, and I don't know, maybe we can get it right. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up. Let me know in the comment sections below. I'm going to make another video about how we can, actually, as fragrance viewers, maybe improve things. Maybe what you need to be aware of. Let me know if this was a meanwhile video. I know that if you're deep into the fragrance hobby, you might have heard all of these things before. You might have heard them once, twice, 3 times. But there's a lot of people who don't know this message. Just like there's millions of people out there who have never smelled a Ventus. There's lots of people out there who have not heard these messages and have not heard these things. And there's not really going to be a way that things are improved if these things aren't even discussed or even brought out in the open. So I encourage you, everybody out there, smell amazing, have fun with fragrances, and get out there and enjoy life, and do your very best in whatever way you can. If fragrances is a serious passion for you, let it be your serious passion, and that's a beautiful thing. But for some other people, maybe you don't have to spend as much time, in the fragrance world. Maybe you don't have to buy as many fragrances. It's certainly a very interesting catch-22, isn't it? So let me know your thoughts down below. And going forward in the future, I'm going to be less engaged on YouTube. I've already stepped away from a lot of fragrance channels, especially when I've started vetting and seriously looking at who people are and seriously looking at who people have become. And I don't support most of people in Frag Com. Most fragrance content creators are not fragrance reviewers. But I still have hope, and I still try to support the people who are real and authentic, and people who I think have the interest of people who are generally trying to help people. I still might watch their content from time to time, but I'm gonna be watching maybe 10 videos a month or something, or less, from the on YouTube going forward. There's just not much out there right now. So interesting. Let me know what you think down below. You know what to do down below if you want to support this channel. I'll see you soon, everybody. Bye.